are poor food efficiency, holes among African farmers. And this is why that's important. These folks get about 2 liters of milk a day from each of the adult lactating camels. That's not very much in terms of milk production. But no dairy farmer
When I saw
in
my
Africa,
program, it's more
in America.
Commonly not because the function. We have to innovate with technologies and markets that release the productive potential of farmers who already operate on their production frontier. So what do we know about inputs that supposedly help with this? Inputs that add to the productivity of a small farmer? Well, first we know that modern agricultural inputs are disseminating quite rapidly in sub-Saharan Africa. If we were to look at the data from 15 years ago, we'd find very low rates of use of inorganic fertilizers, modern varieties of crop seed, agrochemicals, etc. Today, you find quite a lot of farmers using, including small farmers, using modern agricultural inputs, but it's highly heterogeneous, as depicted in these two graphics that show you fascinating online tool. You can play with different combinations of prices and locations and value cost ratio and your tolerance for risk on an online platform at Cornell to see what the geography of fertilizer profitability looks like. On the right, you see estimates of profitability by different areas of Malawi, and there are a variety of studies that show very similar things. But the point of this is that the new technologies that are on offer are productive and profitable only for some, and they're differentially profitable. Not all farmers actually benefit from all the modern technologies, hence the uneven uptake. So why? Well, one of the most compelling reasons is that nature affects profitability. And in some places, nature is treating and confidence bands around it. The marginal returns to fertilizer use in maize production in Western Kenya is flat and very low when soil organic matter is very low. Put simply, if you put fertilizer on sand, you're not going to grow much. So you need something a little more substantive. And what's striking in that graphic is there's a rapid inflection point that starts to hit around 2.5% to 3% of soil organic matter, and then it tapers off a bit after that. And as you can see with the red dashed horizontal line that plots the fertilizer price at the time we were doing these estimates, about half of the soil domain listed there, the soil organic matter domain, finds fertilizer use to be unprofitable. Why that matters is depicted on the right, which shows the household incomes over the same farms plotted against the same scale. And what you notice is that the poorest households, the one on the leftmost reach of the right-hand graphic, that their incomes are below the rural poverty line for Kenya, which is the red line on the right. So the poorest farmers are the ones cultivating soils that are most degraded in soil organic matter, for whom the marginal profitability of fertilizer is negative. It's optimal for poor farmers to not apply fertilizer. In the picture I took sitting in a very small town in southern Ethiopia, where there's a near real-time posting on the electronic board of current commodity prices. And farmers congregate to watch this, and they make management and sales decisions on the basis of that. For small farmers, they have good information, better informed decisions. Adaptation of ecological niches is really important and requires investment, both from the national agricultural research systems, but also from the private sector. The second big implication is that bundled approaches are often needed. I mean the following. It is rare that there's a single limiting factor. If there was a single limiting factor to improving the productivity of rice in Nigeria, I can assure you Minister Adesina would have taken care of that constraint in the stroke of a pen, and a year later we would have seen doubling, tripling of rice productivity. African cereals productivity has been increasing quickly in recent years. It's been increasing in per capita real terms, but it still is only half the yields of South Asia and a quarter the yields of China. We face multiple constraints.
At the same time, to be able to make sure that we encourage water use efficiency. So we don't want to go through the Asian experience where you use flood irrigation to be able to raise productivity. There are improved technologies that can allow us to have precision irrigation, And we also have the technology that will allow us to look at energy sources, renewable green energy sources, to bring about the change that is required. And I believe with these necessary conditions put in place, our farmers will rise to the challenge and be able to actually demonstrate their capability and their resourcefulness in bringing about a change in agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Timothy. This is very precise and quite